So this is a little tricky at first, so just to make sure, I'm going to go over this again, and I'm going to show it to you a little bit more slowly. So what you're doing, the yarn should be tied in a knot. It should be on the back of the frame, so you're looking at the top of it. You're going to start wrapping by going over this stick, but then around the next one. So you're always trying to create a diagonal line with it. If I go around this one, that's not a diagonal line. So I want to go over and then around the next stick. As I do that, you'll notice I'm rotating the ornament. You'll also notice I'm going to be laying the yarn beside the last piece that went on before it. So here I'm going over and around. That's where I see my X that we talked about in the first video. Over and around, and you'll notice here I don't want to go on top of the yarn, I want to go beside the yarn. So over and around, over and around, over and around. And I'm rotating it every time I do this. Over and around, over and around. So in the middle, you can see a tiny little diamond shape, and this diamond should be getting bigger and bigger, spreading out to cover up the ornament. So I kind of lost my place, so let me go back. So over and around, over and around. I am left-handed, so some of you that are right-handed, you're probably going to wrap and like turn it the reverse way because that's going to feel more natural to you. That is fine as long as you keep going in that order. So I'm always going to go over and around and rotate it, over and around and rotate it. Do not put the yarn on top. We don't want it on top, we want it beside. So always beside so that you're actually covering the ornament. So over and around, over and around. If you look at the front, you should see the diamond. If you look at the back, then you'll notice it just looks like you're wrapping the sticks. That doesn't even look very pretty. That's why that's the back and this is the front. So over and around, over and around. If you aren't seeing your diamond, if it's looking like a big fat wadded up piece of yarn, odds are you're confused because, well, you're going over and around and you're turning it, but what you're not paying attention to maybe is that you're putting the yarn on top. You can see that makes it look very different than if you go beside. So if you have a big wadded up fat ball of yarn in the middle and it's not spreading out to make the diamond, it's just because you're putting your yarn on top. So if you take the time to watch, you always want to lay it beside, not on top. So beside, and go over and around, over and around. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to work a lot faster. And eventually you're going to run into a problem where you are out of yarn. When you run out of yarn, of course, you'll get a new piece. And you want it to be a different color because the whole point is to show off this wrapping process and to show a design that you're coming up with. So you want to have a color that'll look good with your first one that you'll add on, and you'll show this effect. Okay, so this is ready for me to go ahead and stop and cut a new piece of yarn.